all without their best player Siakam, breakout star for the season Powell, and grizzled man in the middle Gasol. Toronto's remaining one of the league's most dangerous teams, recently going on a 49-14 run, pulling off the 5th greatest comeback in NBA history, and getting Christmas revenge on the surging Celtics. At full strength and in rhythm, it's tough to imagine Toronto's full potential, so this video gives you every truth behind the Raptors' 2020 contender status. Securing his 5th place spot, Ona gives some solid perspective to why Ingram and Sabonis were the most talented players on last video's list. The second Hoops Community Speaks giveaway is set after my last upload. Before January 15th, I am extending it. I apologize for the video delay, but the board will reset on January 15th. It's time to get your beastly takes in. Questions coming up. 34 games in, and the Raptors have lost 117 man games due to injury, only trailing the Golden State Warriors, the Portland Trail Blazers, and the Washington Wizards. Somehow, Toronto's only 1.5 games back of an impressive Miami team for the 3rd seed, entering their conference showdown tomorrow night. First, Serge and Kyle went down. The Raps were as hot as they've ever been. Now, with other top options injured, Lowry and Ibaka in their last 10 games are combining to average nearly 40 points and 15 rebounds. More noteworthy, it's their young, seemingly endless supporting cast stepping into unfamiliar spots without 3 of their best players. Powell and Siakam were having career years. Their rim protector and brilliant passing center Gasol is injured as well. This could have crumbled, yet they're still plus 500 since all 3 of those players last played against the Detroit Pistons on December the 18th. Against an intimidatingly talented perimeter scoring Celtics team who just spanked them on Christmas Day, the woefully injured Raps shocked the Celtics by beating them on their home floor for the first time since 2016. Oddly, just what the Celtics did to them 3 days earlier. It was an elite display of leadership and clutch shooting in the 4th quarter to bounce back from that blowout loss from our league's most underappreciated all-star Kyle Lowry. After winning a championship, this utterly magnificent display of deep-range bombs to beat the hottest team in the league going into the night, it's clear Kyle's got supreme confidence. Just like the mid-season form and seamless pop he has in his jumper, that belief in himself is at the highest point of his career. Lowry hit 4 3-point quick-release daggers, finishing with 30 and 7 to bury a Celtics team who, although was playing their 3rd game in 4 days, was at full strength. Before that home and home against Boston, Kyle put all of the 6 on his Bulldog shoulders, sniping the Raps out of a 30-point deficit. Any pull-up, pull-back, contested 3-pointer he took was predictably in the bag before it fell. Mixing it up with ease from there, Lowry bodied the tallest and strongest of Maverick trees, masterfully getting into the paint while extending over them for finishes. The fact that he's filling the role of number 1 option, facing defense's best game plans while upping his production at the same time, that says a lot considering that it's not his usual role, and 3 of your top 5 most important offensive operators are sidelined. Second, trailing only Ben Simmons in steals, is 2019's final sensation, Fred VanVleet. Having to play the role of second fiddle in the adjusted-to-injury offensive system, his efficiencies tailed off. Starting in general, which Fred's done the entire season for the first time in his career, has been an adjustment for the 25-year-old. His shots aren't falling, but what hasn't changed from last spring's breakout display is the amount Steady Freddy's digging in defensively. Also, his presence on the floor, with his determination to win like Lowry and gritty mentality, is damn valuable. In a contract year where he's about to hit restricted free agency, you can bet for his NBA future's sake he'll heat up and start finding his typical rhythm. But regardless of his close to just 40% shooting from the field, the 18 points contributed by Fred, up by 7 from last season, has been a helpful transition for Toronto out of the Kawhi era. The Toronto locker room has a prominent voice in VanVleet, but one that doesn't come along with ego. He leads by example and gives off a tremendous vibe for every one of his teammates. The Raptors are legit though because they have the adequate talent physically, mentally, and that talent meshes. More importantly though, every member of their rotation 1 through 15 more than fills their role. That's been the driving factor for the Raptors, minus 2 of their top 4 scorers, including the 13th best league-wide scorer in Siakam, being seamlessly sustainable. Van Vliet called out replacement starter Pat McCaw for being too passive on Christmas Day. The three-time champ then responded 3 days later in the Raptors' next game by stuffing the stat sheet and playing with an impressive amount of composure, creating shots off the bounce. One easily overlooked factor of McCaw's game since he entered the league is his consistent swinging of the ball. Due to that, top options he's been blessed to be teammates with are consistently kept in rhythm, when most NBA shooting guards at the end of a bench would stagnate your offense with excessive dribbling. Patrick's out there to get his teammates easy looks with fundamentally sound passing. Fred's right though, because there'll be no 8 assist type games McCaw had against the Celtics Saturday night unless he's picking his spots and trusting his not just playmaking skill, but improving scoring repertoire. The guy has an extremely under-control dribble in the pick and roll with pull-up ability, which is combined with a soft touch at the basket, and his three-point percentage is nearly at 40%. From the embarrassing poster dunk to the elusive three-point shot release, Chris Boucher's filling Marc Gasol's role by successfully deciding the right time to either make athletic slashes to the basket or fall back for a three-pointer, where slow-footed big men compared to the nifty movement of Boucher can't even think about contesting his shot. Boucher was a big part of the 5th greatest comeback in league history Toronto pulled off without 3 of their top 5 most valued players. In both that game at home versus Dallas and the Christmas Day loss to Boston, the pride of Montreal, Chris has set career highs in scoring. Defensively, his IQ needs a ton of work, as he's falling for fakes too often, but the potential is there, and that'll come with experience. It's his first season facing significant minutes and being relied on. With a year or 2 of progress, though, Boucher could be a top 2-way big man in the league. The man has top-notch agility, he just needs to add strength and smarts. It'll come. Having a big impact in the 4th quarter on the road against the surging Celtics, O'Shea Brissett played 9 more minutes than any other game of his career. The 21-year-old lanky 6'7" undrafted Canadian rookie has the length to feast on the offensive glass. Just look how he flies in to grab these stunningly athletic boards. From the late 4th quarter on, O'Shea manufactured 3 crucial possessions for the Raps, grabbed 6 boards in total, scored 4 points, dropped 2 dimes, while displaying his defensive versatility, sticking with one of the fastest players in the league in Kemba Walker, and holding down Jaylen Brown's strength and contesting him in the paint. His minutes have been inconsistent in his rookie year, but Terrence Davis II is another undrafted player for the Raptors, giving his team a valuable 2-way impact. Terrence is one of 4 NBA rookies shooting north of 40% from three-point range, and he hits impactful deep-range shots which turn the momentum in the Raptors' favor. The flair and confidence he shows are rare qualities for a rookie. TD2's game is raw, but he's shown flashes of elite-level shot creating. You can't forget Jimmy Butler averaged under 9 points his first 2 seasons, and that's exactly who the 22-year-old Raw Davis reminds me of. He's a guy I see increasing his production steadily as his career goes on, like we've seen happen with so many of Toronto's front office gems in recent history. The hustle-based Rondae Hollis-Jefferson is second behind Giannis Antetokounmpo and ahead of Jimmy Butler in offensive rebounds per game among forwards. Using his 6'7" frame but 7'2" long wingspan to full advantage, it's actually Rondae's ability to read out whether rebounds will bounce out to the free throw line and beyond, or be one he'll have to muscle/reach over opponents for in the paint. He's a perfect replacement for Kawhi defensively with his active pursuit, quick hands, and lateral quickness, and his pure hustle, along with a quick first step on the other end, make him fairly valuable. All of those players I just mentioned are in bigger roles than they've been accustomed to, but as you can see, once Powell, Siakam, and Gasol get back, they have some young, very intriguing, and currently valuable options that can adequately contribute. Initiating the lethal, as the YouTube channel B-Ball Breakdown noted, high school strategy, Tricky Nicky, as I call him, brought out a full-court trap to confuse, embarrass, and send the Doncic-less Mavericks back to reality. That same Mavs team had just ended the Bucks' win streak, and the busted-up Raps stormed back to go on a ridiculous run against them. By turning over Dallas time after time, A 23-point Mavs lead was stunningly down to 13 points after just the first 2 minutes of the quarter. It eventually led to the aforementioned 49-14 run. The utterly believing Raptors have some serious heart, and it's clear they put everything on the floor for Nick Nurse. He has the team's ear in a big way. That leads us into the 2020 Raps contender status, and while dependent on the growth of some young pieces throughout the season, that status is mostly reliant on Toronto's battle-tested nature. In one sense, they've been through the hardships and achieved the glory, so this should help them. In another, they've been through some heartaches before the Claw got here. Those times have a chance of being revisited. Siakam has to get back to his 25 points per game season and potentially a back-to-back Most Improved Player award. Gasol has to hit open jumpers and lock down the paint. Powell has to get his offensive fire back. What's clear, though, is the pieces backing them up are as equipped as they've ever been. Organizationally, this is maybe the best front office in the NBA with Bobby Webster, Masai Ujiri, and Dan Tolzman. They've been put up against the wall time and time again and came out on top, and it's the same thing in the locker room. The amount of wing defenders in a league that features the dominance of so many three-men is really crucial for Toronto. I know I mentioned so many wings this vid, but I haven't even mentioned OG Anunoby, who's maybe their best defender on the perimeter. So Toronto is still dangerous this year. We'll have to wait till they're at full strength to see if that danger has any extent, though. For more NBA lists, stories, and predictions, hit subscribe. Keep watching some of my other content after you answer the shoutout question. This was D-Flow. Happy New Year, and see you next video.